Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Excited to be here and thankful to let me be a part of Sunday Chatter and hearing the music, and I'm grateful to be able to share some words with you all. One day you will encounter a house flooded with water. There are no drains or lifeboats to save you, rather dozens of ships inside bottles, mastless. Within the glass boundaries, you built them in your image, impractical, on the brink of capsizing. Each time you let yourself fall, the stability in his voice threaded through the holes within you. One slight tug of the string heaved you into unhinged, then it was on to the next, a new thread, a new threat. So you bottled up moments, thinking love could be salvaged. Naive, you tried to fill windless sails with whispered wishes, cast away, cast away. Each encounter was just enough to propel you down the rivers already flowing inside you. From one life to the next, it wasn't such a bad track record. You only fell in love about 60% of the time, not wanting to lose control or end up in pieces. Later, you will see your actions coincided with leap years, though it was never about the jump or fall. Not at all. Anchored in illusion, you never feared collapse, ruined your rigging to risk drowning in make-believe because you were young, and it was so much easier to pretend to fall in love back then when you didn't know a damn thing about dying. So when you find yourself in a house with water rising, spread your arms to lengths wider than loneliness could ever reach. Embrace those parts in you, the heart in you that will always be a thirsty, hungry, and overflowing ocean. Patrick would never say the word love. So when he volunteers to read the poem for class that day, he does so only on the condition that he doesn't have to say that word. So he reads, and when he gets to that word, he pauses, looks at me, and waits for me to say it, love, before continuing. It sounds a little something like this. The saddest thing in the world has got to be when you love someone unable to provide the love and support you need. And I do it like this, dramatically shouting, perhaps to make my students laugh as I fill in the gaps. You see, Patrick, he's one of the most talented students I've ever had. He scores his pain beautifully on the page like he's constructing arias for operas with poetry. Patrick makes sense of things, his remembering like his mother's drinking or her suicide attempts driving off a cliff with him at her side. After all, what kind of mother would want to leave her child behind? In another piece, Patrick calls himself a bird without wings. After class, apologizes for always writing sad things, but he can't help it. The teacher in me tries to create reinforcing messages like sometimes it's the sad things we need to write in order to release, let go, break down, and cry. I tell him maybe try to incorporate music. I know it lifts me. His response, but Miss Tanaya, I don't think I can sing. I say, baby, it doesn't matter whether you're on or off key. It's about honoring and using your voice. His song of choice, I believe I can fly. The next day he riffs between verses. I used to think that I could not go on, and life was nothing but an awful song. And he hits every note. At the back of his throat, I can hear past anger turn into harmonious hope, and though he still won't speak it, he sings it. Later he'll tell me there's a difference, but now I know the meaning of true love. Performing his piece inspires the quiet. This other girl who sits in the back of class raises her hand and says she also believes she is a flightless bird, but maybe she too can learn to rise with music. She asks if she can share. No longer scared, she begins. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Her voice leaps off the page. Her cantatas are rage written in jagged lines to release memories growing up in a household where her mother's boyfriends came into her room at night. It was then in the darkness that she wanted to rise into flight. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. But they pulled off her wings, a flower deep-petaled, She goes on to tell us this continued from 3rd grade until just last year. We are in tears when she's finished. She rips her paper, places pieces on her tongue like sacrament, thinking if she swallows the words, this simple act might save her. So I sit beside her, put a piece in my mouth too. I want her, them, the class to know that you don't have to eat your rage, pain, and sadness alone. But they don't know. I need to eat these words too to feel full, that once I lost a friend who I loved, and when he killed himself, his body hung from rope like pendulum, marking the times I never said it enough. So today I make sure I speak, teach, pray, and say love, maybe even too much. I'll play love on repeat, my love, my love, my love, when students write pieces weighted in grief. So when the flightless sing, birds fly over the rainbow, why, then oh why can't we share an experience? The class joins in, put pieces in their mouths too. Together we can still dissolve the heaviest ink, turn hurt words into notes to form chords and create a common chorus. I believe I can fly if I just spread my wings. Together we can fill in the gaps for those who need help, not just saying, but believing in words like love. I have 2 more little short ones. I like to time it because I don't ever like to go over the limit, but I guess I didn't account for applause. So the next one I'm going to read is from a literary journal that I helped co-found with a friend. It's called As Us, A Space for Women of the World, and we publish writing by Indigenous women and women of color. And this is our inaugural issue, and the cover art is by a Santa Fe artist, Jolene Yazzie. There's an interview with Joy Harjo and lots of different poets and some New Mexico poets, so we have some if you want to find me after. This one's called Somewhere Being Written. I'm convinced someone somewhere is painting the moon, stretching its canvas to extend from one planet to the next. He covers it in hues that encompass galaxies. The heavy pigment even tempts lost planets into orbit. Paper thin, I am pulled into the linen that begs for lines, so I rearrange constellations, suspend a message across the Milky Way. We both need to believe in something bigger than ourselves. Ask, are there limits to loving? The sky responds, halfway to ecstasy. We forget we are ever star far away, 2 hands searching for each other. In the dark, the moon grasps at oceans, and we envy its ability to rise, not knowing the moon mourns, unable to keep waves from leaving the shoreline. Strangers wish upon fallen stars, never looking up to listen. The moon hums repetitively, come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. A prayer so near silence, we can barely hear the lift into daylight as it carries us away from this life into the next. Okay, the last one. It doesn't have a title yet, so if you think of anything, you can tell me. I was raised on musicals like Grease, Annie, Funny Girl, memorized the words, reenacted plays on my make-believe stage. I dreamed of ending up on Broadway. Those characters taught me lessons I thought everyone should know, like your clothes may be Beau Brummely, they stand out a mile, but brother, you're never fully dressed without a smile. And everyone for a while thought I was charming and cute until somebody bought me a kazoo, which I played daily without fail until it mysteriously disappeared. Those musicals taught me about fear and going all in. They introduced the concept of you get what you give. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Though they didn't totally prepare me for the pessimism the world would bring one day, but they hinted at the probability of longing, heartache, and timing being everything. With each age, I obsessed over different show tunes that went in tune with my life at the time, like the phases of empowerment. Take me for what I am, who I was meant to be, and if you me, baby, or leave me. And it didn't end there. No, the musicals turned to songs in general. When I was 12, I was obsessed with watching Ally McBeal. Loved the way she blurred her imagination with the real, but my favorite part was the fact that she had a theme song, which I realized I had all along, several in fact, depending on my mood. When I needed to feel good sometimes, all it takes is just a small town girl living in a lonely world. And when it's over, I'm pumped, ready to take on whatever rolls my way. And on days when I'm sad, I blast, she's a bad mamma jamma, just as fine as she can be. Songs still become anthems to help me see myself in the world in the best of ways. And today I turn to music thinking it holds some universal truths, whether it's don't stop believing or accepting the vulnerability and needing people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And at the end of the musical or song, it's not about work. Money doesn't define your worth. And I'll always believe that whether or not life brings you joy or hurt, it's what you wear from ear to ear and not from head to toe that matters.